Hey, nice to see you there. How are you doing? Who's here already? A-M-E-I-M. Yeah, you. You're first today. Welcome. Kai. A few other people talking in chat. If you're watching here today, let me know where you're watching from. Who's out there? See, we have someone from, oh, Kai says, Kai from America, Ohio. Isn't it all Ohio? Welcome, welcome. Keith, hello. Yes, we've got a really interesting live stream today. This is going to be, I know people are still coming in, so I'll say this again, but I'll tell you here since you're early. This is going to be a really solid advanced level concept, meaning you're not going to use this very much. But if you're an advanced speaker, you will use this a lot. But most people aren't advanced, so I'm just saying that. This is going to be a topic that, although it's advanced, you're going to understand it. And it's really advanced in that this isn't going to be something that's going to pop up in your language textbooks, but you'll hear it actually a lot. I'd say this is one of the more useful advanced topics that you're going to learn. I've taught some pretty useless stuff. That's why I'm letting you know. This is going to be a more useful topic that's in the advanced level. A lot of advanced stuff, what makes it advanced is that it not only requires a lot of different grammar you have to know in advance in order to use it in the first place, but also what makes things advanced usually is that they're not super necessary. You can say the exact same thing with other forms. This form's a little different. Yes, it does require knowing some other grammar forms, which is what makes it advanced, but it's actually quite useful. It doesn't sound awkward. It doesn't sound like archaic or overly formal. It's not only used in like official situations or only used in writing or anything like that. It's a regular grammar form that you're going to hear. So yeah, in that way it's advanced, but maybe I'll put it in, I won't put it in the advanced level necessarily. I'll put it in the fun category. It's a useful form that is just also, it also happens to be advanced. We got from Colombia, Poland. Kai says we have corn. Well, that's fabulous. I like corn. Who doesn't like corn? Seriously. I have never met anyone who doesn't like corn. I've met people who don't like potatoes, like mashed potatoes. I have people who don't like tomatoes, lettuce, other vegetables, this or that, or these fruits or whatever, but I've never met a single person who doesn't like corn. Have you? Like, who doesn't like corn on the cob? Except for it gets stuck in your teeth sometimes. Who doesn't like corn on the cob? That's delicious. Kapil says, I'm from Korea. I mean, you're living in Korea right now, I'd assume. Eddie from Texas, Alaska, welcome. Estonia, presently in Korea. Okay. Dominican Republic, yes. Christian said, I'm just starting by watching your video. Should I not be here since this is advanced? Well, you can take notes, but I'd say you're in a better place than if I were doing another advanced lesson, because a lot of the advanced lessons, a lot of the advanced material there is in Korean is not just, like I said, it's not just difficult to make, but it's not commonly used, or it's maybe less commonly used, or it's common, but only in this situation. But the form we're doing today is just common, straight up common. So you could take notes, but I wouldn't stress if you don't fully understand, like, oh, well, how is it different than this form I'm using? Like, don't worry about that, but you can take notes. You can just hang out. I mean, we always talk a bit together before and after the streams, and sometimes during. So you'll still get something from the lesson today, I think, even if you're not ready for it. Let's see. Rick-san said, I learned from a video that tense consonants aren't really perceived by native speakers. Where did you learn that? That is not true. They do. It depends. I mean, I'd have to see what video you're talking about. Maybe they didn't say that, or maybe they said something else. But no, you totally hear the difference, and they're used. From Korea, from France. Okay, well, we get it. Okay. Canada. Kenneth says, I don't enjoy... Hold on, where's I gonna get the ban button? Hold on, I gotta ban this guy. What's this fool think he's doing? Ban! You're banned! You can't hate corn? No, it's fine. I mean, you might not like corn and cob, but you gotta like cornmeal, right? I mean, like pizza cooked with cornmeal at the bottom. Or, okay, popcorn. Who doesn't like popcorn? Kenneth, tell me you like popcorn, please. Phoebe says corn pizza. Yeah. In Korea, there are many reasons for this. One of the reasons for this is to save on ingredients, because dairy would be too expensive to cover the pizza in cheese. It would make pizzas too unaffordable. So instead of doing that, instead of making the dough really thick and making lots of cheese, you make the dough really thin, you put a little bit of cheese, and you substitute with other ingredients like corn. Corn's a common ingredient on as a pizza topping. Eddie says, oh, sorry, it's Edie. From Brazil, from Morocco. Corian says, what about corn? Well, that's a personal preference. I'm not a huge fan, but I get it. I can see the appeal. Popcorn is great. Okay, I forgive you. You're unbanned. Small says, we have corn on pizza in the UK, but just a little bit. Yeah, I like it too. It's a thing. Welcome. Let's see. Yeah, we got Canada, Hawaii as well. Who else? We had another person from the US. Well, that sounds exotic. Where's that? I'm from the US, so my geography is not that great, but where's the US? Corian XM says they're from the US. That's interesting. If anyone knows where that is, let me know. Let's see. But there are so many more excellent options. Why corn? Well, it takes up space and it's cheap. So there are a few things that you're going to commonly find as toppings on Korean pizza. Like I said, cheese is expensive. It's a luxury grocery item in Korea. They have it, but it's more of a fancy item. So it's not like here in the US and probably other countries. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I can go down to the grocery store. I can buy a pound of cheese, like a shredded cheese, for like $3. $5 if you buy it like a Kraft brand or something like that. It's no better, but it's branded. That you can't find that kind of thing in Korea unless you go to like Costco or a specialty store. So if you want to have a lot of cheese, you either pay money for it, you accept lower quality cheese that's kind of like, the processed cheese that we would have in the US, or you substitute it with other ingredients. And they've done something really creative in Korea in that they substitute some of the ingredients we use in the US, which would be very expensive over there. They've substituted them with other more, local, easily available ingredients in Korea to make something kind of new. So you get all these cool varieties of pizza in Korea that you would never have in the US, but they're still good. They're just different. Creamed corn is just wrong? What's wrong with creamed corn? Jonesy, what's wrong with creamed corn? I'm not necessarily a fan. I'm not going to go out of my way to eat it, but what did creamed corn ever do to you? Lady Natbug, welcome. South Korea by way of Montana. You got to be careful. You might be driving around Montana. If you take a wrong turn, you sometimes end up in Korea. It's really annoying to get out of there again. You have to show your passport. It's a legitimate concern. 콘, 피망, 올리브, 양파, 다 치즈 대신. Yeah. 피망, although we also do, so 피망 would be bell peppers. We also do bell peppers, or what Koreans would refer to as paprika can also be referred as what we would call a bell pepper. Onions, olives, those are also American things, but I'd say for Korea, the biggest things you're going to find as substitutes for cheese are going to be potatoes, so like potato wedges, corn, and goguma, so sweet potato, which is not the same as yams. We have sweet potato, we have yams in the US. It's not quite the same. It's the purple ones. Anyway, that's also common, is they'll put like a sweet potato, kind of like a puree, like a paste around the outside of the pizza to kind of take the place of that extra cheese or whatever else would be there. So you get kind of a sweet, savory pizza versus the US kind, which is more of like a salty, oily, not oily, salty, greasy type of pizza. And they're both good. I prefer the US kind, but sometimes I feel like, I kind of want a Korean pizza. Every now and then, even when I'm in the US, I'm like, I kind of want a Korean pizza. Some of that, corn or shrimp or something like that. In fact, when I'm in, something I never do in the US is order an entire pizza and eat it for myself. It's too expensive. It's too big. It's not really feasible unless I'm like starving. It's just too much. But in Korea, the pizzas are, like I said, they're a little bit thinner. They're a little bit smaller. Like a medium size for us would be a large size for Korea. So I can order a full size pizza in Korea and eat the entire thing for lunch. I'll be full, but I can do it. It's not too hard. Just kind of something nice to do. Order my own pizza, all for me, sit down, eat the whole thing, and then go back home and collapse. How about mushrooms? Yeah, mushrooms would be a good option too. Lady Natbook said, maybe Korea got the idea of corn from Israel. I don't think so, because Korea has had that type of pizza for quite a while. I'm not sure when they started selling that type of pizza. My guess, this is just total guess, is it's going to be sometime around the 70s or 80s when they started getting that kind of pizza. I don't think Korea originally, after the Korean War, had much in the way of pizza. They did have fried chicken. Fried chicken's been around in Korea since right after the Korean War. But I don't think they got pizza that early, so I wouldn't think so. Yeah, mushrooms are good too. They also put mushrooms commonly on pizza. You'll find shrimp is another common topping that you'll find, even though shrimp's kind of expensive. If you get smaller shrimp, cut them in half, then it kind of takes a lot of space and it makes your pizza kind of fancy. Yeah, sweet potato mousse, I think, is a good way to describe the sweet potato. Zandria says, somebody was pregnant in that test kitchen. Oh, you bet. Yeah. Someone just like me, but with like a big stomach, and they're like, oh man, how about some of that corn over there? Like, corn, sir? What are you talking about? We have that for our cooking in our kitchen. Give me some of that corn over there. And sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes. Are you sure, sir? That's for the soldiers. They like to have their sweet potato, candied yams around Thanksgiving. I said, bring me the yams. How about what meat do we have? Oh, sir, the meat's all being rationed. Give me the shrimp. Okay, sir. Yes. I think that's how the start of Korean pizzas. No, they do have regular like cheese pizza, pepperoni pizza, but it's not. The funny thing is, if you go to the main franchises that serve pizza in Korea, so Domino's, Pizza Hut, these are like fancy pizza brands in Korea, believe it or not. That's like the top quality. That's like you go into a restaurant, you sit down, you have a waiter, they bring you a big pizza. It's like 30,000 won, 40,000 won for a single pizza. If you want pizza though, if you go to like a regular chain, like a franchise, and you get pizza, those ones, a lot of them actually don't have pepperoni, plain pepperoni pizza as like an item that they advertise. If you do want to get a plain pepperoni cheese pizza, it tends to be the cheaper places that will have those simple options, and the nicer places will have, you know, fancy options and stuff. But I usually just like plain pepperoni pizza, and for that, I'll go to a franchise called Pizza School. Anyone who's visited or stayed in Korea knows what Pizza School is. It's just the budget. It's basically Little Caesars in Korea, where you order it, it's ready like 5 minutes later, and it's really simple and it's cheap. Although they did raise their prices from what they used to be, I think equivalent in US dollars, it's still around something like $6 per pizza for the simple kinds and $7 or $8 for the fancier kinds. And yeah, it's totally worth it though. You can get like one pizza and eat it all by yourself and get full for under $10, which is really nice. I like bananas on pizza, but the sweetness of corn pizzas was too much for me. Bananas on pizza. That sounds like an Elvis Presley kind of thing. Yes, plain pepperoni is the best. Yeah, at Pizza School that's why I like Pizza School, because it's cheap. It's not too much food. It's not too fancy. You don't have like a waiter asking you, what else can I get for you? Can I do this? No. Just leave me alone. Just give me my pizza so I can slam it into my mouth and pass out. And they don't judge you. It's nice. Nobody's ever bugged me when I order a pizza and then go sit down by myself and eat the entire thing. They're just like, enjoy your pizza. Barbecue chicken pizza is delicious. Yeah, they have some barbecue chicken pizza in Korea. They have some like that sort of stuff too. They have like sausage pizza with like lots of, it's not just like the, you know, the sausage balls we have in the US, but these are like actual slices of some sort of sausage that they cover the pizza with. That's also really good. Would this even be a Pizza School the GOAT? Yeah, Pizza School's great. So Pizza School, checking how much time we have left to talk about how much time do we have to talk about pizza and stuff? Yeah, so we'll get started with the lesson really soon. At the top of the hour, we'll get started, I promise. We always do. We always talk about random stuff. Oh, next Sunday, there is no live stream. So I know that we didn't have a class last week, but we did do a regular live stream practicing conjugating verbs. Next Sunday, there will not be a live stream, but after that, we're going to go again. And I'm going to start doing live streams most weeks. Instead of doing like 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off like I used to, I'm going to start doing like 2 on and then a bonus, and then 2 on and then a bonus. So I'm going to try to do live streaming more often, at least until May when I have to go to Korea. I'll be gone for the summertime and then I'll come back and continue that. So I'm going to try to do more frequent live streams, but in exchange, I shouldn't really say in exchange, but also I'm not going to be doing one next Sunday. And then I think there's one more in March I also won't do, but other weeks I'm going to be doing a live stream most Sundays. So you'll see more of me. Great. Maybe it's just the cap and flannel, but you remind me of Destin from Smarter Every Day. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah. I don't know who started that look first, but we're more than welcome to both share the look. I think he earns it as well. He does a good job representing this look, so I'll allow it. I don't know. He might have done it before me, so. Yeah, Pizza School is a pizza franchise in Korea, popular among students. I'm 38. I love Pizza School. Pizza School is my favorite brand. Although it wasn't always Pizza School. I used to have some other brands that I would like as well, but some other brands disappeared. Like pizza used to be more of a For a while, it was more of a trend where you'd see like a fad, you'd see a lot of pizza places opening up here and there. And then that kind of calmed down and a few of them are still remaining, and Pizza School is one of them. There used to be kind of like a cheap pizza trend in like the early 2000s where a lot of places were popping up. I'm not a student anymore either, but it's still my favorite. Billy reminds me of the male Korean learning version of Dora. I haven't watched enough Dora the Explorer to do a good imitation. I can't do imitation of Dora. I do other imitations, but Dora is not one of them. Vamonos! Swiper, no swiping. I'm the outline, I'm the outline, I'm the outline. So this is the outline for today. We're going to be doing a lesson. We'll get started in just a couple minutes. We're going to be actually doing 3 topics today. And I said this a few minutes ago for those of you who are early, but yes, this is an advanced lesson. No, this is not only for advanced level learners, because this topic is super common. So even if you're not ready for it yet, I would still take notes. You're going to hear it. 100% you're going to encounter this. And it's simpler than you think. Now, I've actually taught just this form before. So this is a prerequisite for the lesson, but if you don't know it, I'm going to review it again today. So don't worry too much if you don't know this. I've taught this before, but I figured out, since I taught that lesson back 3-4 years ago, almost. And since then, I've learned an even better way to teach it. So I'm going to be able to go over this really quick, and then we'll get started with 2 new forms for today. Yeah, Pizza School's pretty good. I would say if you're in Korea and you want to try Korean pizza, though, I don't know if I recommend Pizza School to be the one that you try, just because it's too good. It's too standard and simple, that if you want to try actually, like, I want to try Korean pizza, I heard so many things about Korean pizza. Pizza School is not the one you want to try. You want to get like Domino's or Pizza Hut. Probably, I would say Pizza Hut is going to be the best representation of like what pizza do Koreans have. It's going to be something like Pizza Hut, or maybe, gosh, actually there are a few other franchises that are pretty good too. A lot of like the chicken places nowadays too sell pizzas. Well, some of the chicken places also will sell pizzas now, as like you can get a combo with chicken and pizza together. Some of them are also good too. Imsur Pizza, I think, is another one. It's pretty good. Mr. Pizza. Yeah, it's not gonna be that cheap though. You're probably gonna be spending around 30,000 won, 20 to 30,000 won. But I would try one of those instead of Pizza School. Get Pizza School when you actually just want pizza, like you just want to have a quick pizza, and get that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and I don't know if this is gonna work. Let me see. Can I try this? So I borrowed, let's just say that I borrowed my son's, let's see if I can type here, tablet. Go Billy Korean. I borrowed my son's tablet. I'm not giving it back, but I borrowed it. It's his tablet he used to use when he was a baby that we haven't even touched it in like 3 years. But I realized I could probably use this tablet as a new tablet for reading messages. So I'm going to try that. I don't know if it's going to work. I tried to do it on the built-in browser with this tablet and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't show me any comments. But it's showing me an ad. Come on, I don't want to see an ad. Let's turn that off. So I'm going to see if maybe it'll work. Is this the live chat? How can I don't know. It's going a little slow. We'll see. I don't know. I'll try this throughout the stream to see if this will work. How do I get this? Filter all messages. Can I just make this full screen? Can I do this? Yeah, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to actually watch myself. I just want to read the comments. Does this work? Someone say something. I want to know if this works. Oh, I think it works. I think it works. Okay, so I'm gonna try this for today. I'm gonna see if it will let me, I'm gonna put this away. Sorry, I'm a little bit disorganized because I was trying to get that started with the tablet and it wouldn't let me check it until the stream started. Hey! Kai! Thank you, Kai. Kai just sent me a $10 donation directly through my email, so that's why it didn't pop up on the chat here. Kai, thank you for the top of the hour donation. I appreciate it. Jeremy also appreciates the last time everyone voted to get Jeremy some money. So Jeremy got a new book and he got some extra cash, which he said he's gonna be using it for Minecraft Online. Okay, I think I'm gonna try this. Yeah, it's light mode. It kind of hurts my eyes, but there's no way to adjust it. There's no way to adjust it. So whatever, it's just gonna be light mode for now until I can change it. But if it works, that would be cool because then I can have a tablet that won't die after 2 hours and that I could still interact with. So we'll see. Like I said, this was Jeremy's old tablet. He used to use this when he was like 2 years old and 3 years old and 4 years old, but it's been a while. We haven't touched it in a long time. So it's just sitting there gathering dust. Battery had all drained. I turned it back on and maybe it'll work, but it seems to be working okay. Zandria says, I get the Veggie Lovers pizza. Oh, I'm not used to this, having a tablet that I can scroll on. This is weird. I get the Veggie Lovers pizza at Pizza Hut and it seems pretty normal. No sneaky weirdness I could detect. Okay. Except that it's a Veggie Lovers pizza. That's the weird part. No, I don't mind if you want to have that. I'm just not a huge fan. I like to get some kind of meat on my pizza, at least if it's a, pepperoni or just cheese or anchovy, something like that. Okay. Oh, that erase is nice. I think I'll use this one for a little bit. Okay. We're going to be learning about something that's advanced level, but is definitely useful for everyone because it's advanced, but it's really common. You are definitely going to hear this used once or twice. And the form we're going to start, actually, let me write it up here. The main form we're going to be learning about today is popoida. But in order to learn this, we first have to go back to a simpler time, years ago. No, we have to go back to a different version of this form. Popoida. Now, I've taught this form popoida before. If you want to learn about it in more detail, I did a live stream back in 2021, March 14th, 2021, about how to use popoida. But I'm going to do a really quick review today, so you don't really need to watch this. So what is popoida? Well, it's a combination of two things. First, the word pop, which comes from Hanja. Pop means a law. Like, that's the law. And they use pop to say things like, oh, it's illegal, or it's legal, or that's the law, or there's a law that says, or anything like that. So it really does mean law. But by meaning law, it also can mean like the way things are, right? Or in that way, it can also mean a method. And this kind of meaning or nuance of meaning way is what gives us a different meaning for this form. If not, you can at least keep one tablet on a charger. Yeah, so I'm going to use the new tablet for today, and then I'll have the older one, which really is older. It's over 10 years old now. That tablet is going to stay on the charger, so maybe that'll work if this one dies, or maybe I can just use this one from now on. I don't know. Okay. So pop means like the way, and ida means to be. So literally, something popoida means to be, like it is, or that is, the way, or that is the law, like that, literally. Okay, so literally, it's to be a law or way that something is something. So think about that for a second. To be a law that something is this way, what does that kind of sound like? Well, it's the law that something is this, or that is the way that something is like this. This is the way. It means that something is, it's the way it is. Like, that's how it is that it is a certain way. And this is going to be used together with a verb. So you can say, it's the law, or it's the way that something is like that. Yeah, that's just how things are. So this form, yes, it's given that. Sure. This form is used to say that something is natural or a fact. It's only natural that, right? It's only the law that, or it's the way that it is like that, or of course, like that. So you can think of it as meaning it's natural, or it's a fact, or it's certainly, but literally it means that's the law. Like, yeah, of course, that's the way things are. So let me summarize this. So this form, the way that it works, so let me write it up here. Not verb. So you take a verb and you change it into an adjective. And then you attach to that poida. So we'll talk about this in a second. What does that mean? But you take a verb, you change it to an adjective, and you attach popoida. And that means that something is ida, the way that things are. So it's only natural that verb. So if this is an action verb, like let's say hada, to do. Hada, how do you change hada into an adjective? Well, it can be ha는, right? 하는 popoida. That's it. So you're saying that it's natural that someone hada does something. It's only natural that they would do that. That's the way. It's the law that they would do that. It's not unexpected. Certainly they do that. Well, it's a fact that they would do that. That's what this means. You take a verb and you change it into an adjective and you attach popoida and you conjugate ida. So again, it's only natural that, or it's a fact that, or it's certainly that. And if you do it with the descriptive verb, let's do 크다, big. 큰 popoida. It's only natural that it's big, right? You go to you go to a company that has like 1 million employees and you see their building, your office building is gigantic, and you're like, oh, it's only natural that. Of course, that's the way that it would be. That's the law that it's big, of course, right? Certainly it's big. Yeah, no one would be surprised by that. That's just the way things are, of course. So that's what this form means. Now, this adjective that you use is only going to be in the present tense. So you're not going to be using past tense or future tense adjectives. Like if you have hada, to do, it's just going to become 하는. It's not going to become future tense 할 or past tense 한 or anything like that. Because you're just saying the law is something is what you're saying. You're not saying it's the law that something happened. It's just saying something is a certain way. So it's only used with present tense. Just keep that in mind. So if you conjugate an action verb, it's just going to be 는 something. And if it's a descriptive verb, it's just going to be 은 or a nian as usual. So nothing fancy goes on here. No exceptions for that. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a minute. And then we're going to be continuing. I'm going to give you a couple sentences just so we can get this down. And then we'll go on to our form for today. The only thing is this. Every time I touch this screen, though, it thinks I'm trying to like touch the user, so I have to be careful how I play with it. Okay. Yes, Lady Natbug. This is the way. The Mandalorian. The first 2 seasons were pretty good. It's sad they never made a 3rd season. It's sad they never finished the story. But oh well. I mean, really, it's the first season. The 2nd season was kind of like, I don't know. They set up too much stuff they never completed. Lidosphile says, love from Goa, India. Interesting. Yeah, Jihoon Lee says, it is what it is. That's right. I always have some caffeine drink every time I do these lessons. Oh, that's really strong citrus. Tastes like powdered lemonade. Okay. Any questions so far? I can slow down if it's going a little fast. So let me give you an example sentence. Now, this example sentence actually came from the older live stream, but I kind of liked it, so I didn't bother making a new one. We're just going to do 2 quick example sentences. Okay. 사람은, so a person, 쉽게, from 쉽다, to be easy. In this case, 쉽게 is the adverb form, meaning easily. 변하다, to change. 변하지 않다, to not change. 않는, remember, it changes into an adjective in the present tense. 법, it is the way that people do not change easily. It is the law, literally, that people do not change easily. That's the way it is, that people do not change easily. So how would you translate that naturally? You could say it's natural that people don't change easily, or it's a fact that people don't change easily. You can translate it any way you like, whatever feels natural to you. Or maybe, certainly people do not change easily. Any way like that is how you can translate it. Because again, you are literally saying it is it is the law that people or a person does not change easily. And I'm emphasizing it is because the next form we're going to do is a little bit different. But this one is literally it is the law that people do not change easily. 사람은 쉽게 변하지 않는 법이에요. So it's a fact that people don't change easily. I'll leave this up on the board for just a second and then we'll go on to another example. Petra says, it's 11 a.m. here and I'm watching this. 1:11. Okay. 빌리 선생님은 음식에 대해 말하는 법이에요? This isn't used. It's a fact that Billy talks about food. I mean, grammatically, yes, but it doesn't have a reason to use it, I should say. You're gonna use this form when you're pointing something out. So you might say, every time he turns on his live stream, he talks about food. You might say something like that. So you're gonna use it for pointing something out. You're not gonna be using it for just describing something that's currently happening. In which case you can just say, 하고 있어요. Or 항상 해요, always does, or anything like that. This is when you really want to say, it's a fact that Billy talks about food. It's not quite that. You're saying, it's a fact that every time Billy does his live stream, he only talks about food. You could say something like that. Okay. It's like a call about all present tense. Oops, I don't want to erase that. Okay. 자신, oneself. 자신을 사랑하다, to love yourself. 사랑해야. So this is 해야 하다. You have to, but it's only using ya here though means literally only if. So 해야, only if you, 사랑해야, only if you love yourself. And the following part of that will be, can you do something? So only if you love yourself, 사랑할 수 있는 법입니다. Then it's a fact that you can, 사랑할 수 있다. You can love 남도. 남 is other people. 도, also. So 남도 사랑할 수 있는 법입니다. So it's the law, literally, that you can love other people too, only if 사랑해야 자신을, you love yourself. So 자신을 사랑해야 남도 사랑할 수 있는 법입니다 means it's a fact that, or it's natural that, you have to love yourself in order to be able to love others. So you can only love others if you love yourself. Kind of like that. Or literally, only if you love yourself can you also love other people. 자신을 사랑해야 남도 사랑할 수 있는 법입니다. Literally, it is the law that you can love other people too, only if you love yourself. I'll leave this up for just a minute, and then we'll start talking about our new form for today, popoda. If you understand this form, poida, you will totally get the next form we're going to be doing, and the next form after that. So everything hinges on, do you understand how poida works? Hello from Turkey. Nice. Not even if I was going to explain what to expect to someone who didn't know? Well, you can kind of think of it in English. Would you say it's a fact that, if so, yes, in that context, you can use it. Does it only lend to heavier statements? Kind of, because you wouldn't say it's a fact that I like pizza. Unless you want to say literally, unless you're saying literally, I do really like pizza, that's a fact. In which case, you wouldn't use this form. You'd say, 제가 피자를 사랑한다는 거는 사실입니다, or something like that. Like, it's truth that I love Korea. I'm admitting I love Korea. That's a different meaning than this. This is you're saying it's actually, that's how things are. So if you could say something and then at the end of what you say, add this statement, and that's how things are, and not have it be a joke, then yeah, you could use this. But it doesn't have to necessarily be like serious proverbial usage only. Scrambled Eggs on Toast asked, why does the ya not have to be completed with hada or 되다? Because this ya by itself is a form. After a conjugated verb, so action verb or descriptive verb, you conjugate it first. So in this case, 사랑하다 becomes 해, 사랑해. Ya, attach ya to the end. This by itself is a form. That means only if. So only if. And adding hada to the end makes it a different form. 해야 하다 means you can translate it as have to do something or need to do something or must do something. But literally, it actually just means, hada in that case means to be okay or acceptable, or it'll work that way. So literally, it only works, or 되다 also, it works. It only works if you do something. 가야 돼요. It only works if I go, is what you're saying literally, if you want to think of it like that. But the form itself, ya, is only if. Will this live be saved? Yes, this live will be saved. Can you make a summary as a PDF? Yes, there is. Every single live stream I do has a outline. This is today's outline. It will be available after this live stream's over. All of them are on my Patreon. So all you have to do is join my Patreon page and you can instantly get every single live stream outline I've ever done. And there also is a worksheet for this, which has, I think, an extra like 7 sentences. I can't exactly remember. It's 6 to 8, something like that. Extra sentences using the forms from today. So you can have additional practice. And those ones are usually harder to translate. They're longer than the ones we do in the live stream. So I cut them out because they take a bit too much time and distract from the form we're doing. But same form. M asks, could you also use 면 instead of ya? They're different. 면 would be if it's hypothetical, whereas ya is only if. So you're not saying if you love yourself, you can also love other people. What you're saying is only if you love yourself. They're a different meaning in English too. They both have the word if, but their usage is very different. If you replace it, grammatically you're fine, but you could grammatically replace anything with anything and you'd still be fine, but you would have a different meaning. Okay. Now let's talk about our main star of this lesson, popoida. It looks the same, pop meaning law or way, right? But now we have hada at the end. So first, let's talk about how it's made. You take a verb and you change it into an adjective, but instead of being in the present tense, you're not saying this time, it is a law that something is. This time you're saying, it is a law that something will be, if it's a descriptive verb, or will do if it's an action verb. So you change any verb, descriptive verb or action verb, into an adjective like normal in the future tense. Now, I've done live streams about how to do this. I've done lessons about how to do this. Last week, we also had a review about how to do this, but that's going to end with this. Either an or just a lir. So no matter what verb, it'll have a different way that it gets there, but it'll end up ending with one of these two options. So that'll be the future tense adjective form of any verb, and then you use popoida and conjugate this. So you can use the regular future tense. For example, hada would become 할 popoida, or you can also use what's called the past tense future tense. What? The past tense future? The past future? That sounds like something straight out of Back to the Future or something. There also is a past tense future tense form, but it's not as crazy as you think. So if the future tense is you will do something, the past tense is you did do something, then what's the past future tense? Well, it's actually really simple. You first take the past tense, like normal, and then you just attach this. There's no other exception. You just attach this for any verb. So now you have hesser. So what is this? If har is will do or would do, and han is did do, what's hesser? This is very simple. It's what you probably think. This one's would have. So with an action verb, it'll be would have done. And with a descriptive verb, it'll be would have been. So you'll see this form used with the future tense. It'll always end with this. Again, this still ends with the same thing. It'll always end with this, and it'll be the regular future tense, or you could also use the past future tense like this. And then popoida. This is how you'll see it used, either one of these two ways. So you could say, let's just pretend this is ida for a second. It's the law that something will be or something will do. Okay. It's the law that something would have done or would have been. Okay. That's kind of what we're going to be working with. I'm going to leave this up for just a second before I erase it and go on. I don't want to move too fast. Yeah, Keith, would have. Popoida. Yeah, popoida is also in the, I believe it's in the worksheet. I didn't put it in the lesson today, but it's the same form. I won't be sleeping tonight thinking of a past future. Past future. Sounds like a title of like an 80s movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme stars in past future. No, it would be called past future tense. I traveled to the past, but it was actually the future. Boom. Maybe you can get Arnold in there. Maybe Arnold and Jean-Claude Van Damme could be a team. Like now, they're like in their 60s or 70s or something. Like right now, get them as a team. They're like fighting crime, and everything that they do in the past affects their future. Like forget their present. We don't care about that. It affects their future time too. And then at the very end, they have to team up to go into the future to affect the past. Why? I don't know. We don't have to think about that. Okay, so before we did poida, it is the law that, right? Now we've got popoda. What is this hada? Does anyone know what this hada is? Can you take a guess? Or where have you seen it before? Does anyone know? Give you a second. I'll tell you if you don't know. Yeah, Time Cop. Oh God, yeah, I saw that movie. It was so enjoyable that I immediately forgot it after I finished watching it, but I don't regret it. No regrets, but it's not a great movie. But it probably is his best movie though. Oh, except for the TV show he did, which was kind of funny. He did a TV show. I can't remember the name of it. It's like something Jean-Claude. Anyway, he did a TV show and it was kind of funny. It was like weird. And he played himself and like a couple versions of himself. Anyway, yeah. I'm too old. It fits. All right. Violetta says, the first thing I hear is whoosh sounds. Well, yeah, get used to it. This is a pretty normal stream, actually. This is a very, very tame stream. It's common in some European languages too. Yeah, we have it in English, like would have. Or you could even go further. Would have had, right? You can say, it would have had, we do that kind of garbage in English too. Korean, fortunately, does not do that kind of garbage. They stop after the first have had. That's it. Like, you could technically say, like, you could go on. Like, like, you can chain them together, but it makes no sense anymore. They'll think you're joking because no one uses those in any context. You don't need them. The most you'll ever get that you need is going to be the past future, like would have. And you can do a double past tense, like normally you'd say 했어요, like I did it. You can do 했었어요, which is the regular way to say I used to do something. Literally, I had done it, like that. And then you could, I guess, do 했었을 거예요, like 했었었, like that. Double, I've never once heard that. It's not something you're going to need. So although, yeah, it does go a little bit like past, future, double past, there's nothing beyond there like we do in English. So you're safe. Once you just get those couple edge cases, you're good. I will have done. Yeah, I will have done or would have. It's not a past future. That is a chuchuk something. Yeah, but it literally is, because every future tense is technically chuchuk. It's a assumption about something. When you say 갈 거예요, you're not literally translating that as I will go. You can translate it as I would go. But for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. So I think it's fun to call it a past future tense because the conjugation rules are past tense and future tense stuck together. But yeah, would have done. So would have done. Yeah, it's not technically will have done, but it could be will have done too. It's the same thing. Violetta said something in German. I have no clue what that means. Future too in German, I think. Okay. Would not have. Yeah, that's just past tense. 하지 않았을? Like that. 하지 않았을 거예요. I would not have done. 가지 않았을 거야. I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have gone. 나라면 가지 않았을 거야. 나라면 안 갔을 거야. I wouldn't have gone, like that. But it's not really fancy or complicated to make that sort of thing. Okay. So, no one knows what popoda is. but that's fine. That's what I'm here for. Before we had ida, and now we have hada. So ida is, quick review, ida is to be, so something is the law. Hada is not literally to be, but it actually is to be. First of all, it's not hada to do. This is a different hada. This is hada that attaches directly to other words without a space. And you see this hada all the time in descriptive verbs. So this is the descriptive verb ending meaning to be. For example, if you know the verb 피곤하다, to be tired. 피곤하다 is not a verb. This is not to do 피곤. That doesn't make any sense. This is to be tired. You can't say 피곤을 안 해. You can't say that because it's not a verb. You're not doing the tired. 저는 피곤을 많이 해요. I do much the tired today. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So don't do it. This is hada from descriptive verbs, and it means to be. But then, Billy, what's the difference? Darn it, Billy. What is the difference then between ida and hada if they both mean to be? Well, literally, they both mean to be, but there's a nuance difference. Hada with descriptive verbs, the nuance difference isn't so much to be, it's to seem. So it's pretty much the same thing though. You say something is the law. So that is the law that something is that way. It's a fact, right? It is 100% ida. But hada is like, it is. It seems that way. It seems it is the law that something would happen or would be. Wait, is that all this form is? Billy, is that all this? That is the form. I don't sound like Hugh from Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy. Yeah, that is the form. Therefore, popoida is a descriptive verb, not an action verb. It's a descriptive verb that means literally to seem that something is the way it is. It would appear so. It seems to be that way, I guess, right? So it means that something, since we're using the future tense, likely, let me write that again. Likely will be if it's an action verb, or likely will be if it's a descriptive verb, or likely will do if it's an action verb. But we can translate this more naturally. I'm going to leave this up for a second, and then I'm going to translate it more naturally for you than this. Yeah, I'm doing the tired right now. Yeah, doing the tired. Lyra says, can it be popeo? Yes, you can, because you're conjugating hada. Just like before we conjugated ida becomes pop ieo or ia, I guess, or imnida, or anything like that. This time it's heo, hamnida, right? And it's not an action verb, so you can't say hago 있습니다 or 법을 해요 or anything like that. It's just popada as a descriptive verb. Okay. I think this tablet's working. It's working okay. I still have 90% left. My other tablet would already be at like 70% at this point. So I think it should last. I think I could use this. Maybe I'll install like I can get YouTube Studio on here. Yeah. Because I kind of feel bad about making e-waste when a product still functions correctly. If it starts breaking, like cracking and doesn't even work, then I'm okay about throwing it away or giving it away, right? But if something still completely functions normally, I don't like to just get rid of it. I want to keep using it until it dies. I just want to run it into the ground until it has no life left. So that's what I hope that I can do with this little tablet here. I'm doing that with the other one. The other one no longer functions as a tablet. The All the drivers are gone because I made the mistake of updating it to Windows 10, but it didn't come with any drivers for the tablet. So there's no battery indicator, no light on it, no touch screen, no sound, nothing. The only thing that works is the internal network card. There's no keyboard on it. You can't type anyway. But it still works. And I got it back in 2013 or beginning of 2014. So I don't want to throw it away until it actually dies. But this thing, this little guy, still, the touchscreen still works. The sound still works. I'm not going to throw this little guy out. I'm going to bring it to the death. I'm going to be buried with it. My little tablet, like hugging it in my coffin. Like, what's Billy doing? He really doesn't want to get rid of it. It's a waste, he says. E-waste, something about e-waste. Okay. I don't like how I wrote this one. Still have space? Okay. Sense that. Okay. These are 4 ways you can translate it in your head. So I literally said it means to seem or to be, the law that, or the way. It is the way that something will, whatever. But more naturally, you can think of this as something oughta. It ought to be, or they ought to do that. As in, not that they should, but I expect it will be. Again, future tense. Or likely will be, or likely will do. Or, yeah, they should do that. As in, I'm making an assumption. I'm not saying that it would be good if they did that. I'm saying, yeah, they should. Like, I'm assuming they should, or they would do that. Or, yeah, they must be doing that, like that. So again, these are not for making commands or making like suggestions, but it's just for saying these when it means that you're assuming that. So keep that in mind when I wrote these 3. That's what I mean. And then finally, this is another really natural way to think of it. Yeah, it makes sense that something would be like that or someone would do that. I think of these 4, this one will help the most. The last one here. It makes sense that. So if you were to say, Tarsu lives in the same neighborhood as me. So, yeah, I ought to see him a lot. I should see him a lot. I would see him a lot. Yeah, I must see him a lot because he lives in the same neighborhood. It's likely I'll see him a lot because he lives in the same neighborhood as me. Or, yeah, it makes sense that I'd see him a lot since he lives in the same neighborhood as me. This one will be a really good way to translate this in your head. So I recommend writing this one down. It makes sense that, again, you're saying it seems that something would be natural that, right? The way that, the law, literally. It's the same form as before. Poida. It's the same form, but a little bit less certainty, right? You're not saying it is the law that something is present tense. Now you're saying, yeah, it seems to be the law that something would be, future tense, would, or would do with an action verb. Does that make sense? It's the same form with less certainty, and now you're making a guess about something. Yeah, it seems like it would be, like that. Poor tablet, definitely been through the ringer. Okay, yeah. Violetta's like, hell yeah, sustainability. I don't know if it's so much sustainability as it's just I'm cheap and I don't like throwing away things that I don't need to replace. Because I could buy a new tablet for like $200-300 and get one that's like all fancy and stuff, but this one works. It lets me see the comments. I can do this. I can do this. This is such a big deal because my other one, I can't do that. I have to control it with an external USB keyboard that doesn't even have, it's not even like a Bluetooth, like a high quality keyboard. I have to plug a USB dongle into it to do anything. So we'll see. M asks, is it similar to ketta? Ketta is simply something will be or would be, and that's it. It's not making an observation about something, not saying it seems like it would be like that. It seems like it would be natural for something to be like that. You're just saying it will be, it would be straightforward. So can you replace this form with that? Sure, but you completely change the nuance of your sentence. Okay. So I recommend this one. It makes sense that something will be or something will do. Let's do an example sentence. I think when you see a few example sentences, it's gonna make more sense. This is not a difficult grammar form. Hopefully it doesn't show up as red. It shows up kind of like pinkish, right? I don't want to, I'm gonna do this again. I don't want to write someone's name in a reddish color. It's close enough to red that I won't do it to Charsu. I won't do it to my man Charsu. Let's rewrite this with a different color. Okay, this is an example sentence before we add in our popoida form. 철수는, so our friend 철수, 한 동네. This is one word, literally means one 동네, one neighborhood, one area. But when it's written as one word, it means the same neighborhood. So in the same neighborhood. 사니, from 살다, to live. So this is 사니까, because he lives in the same neighborhood as me. 쉽게, easily, from 쉽다, to be easy. 쉽게 보다, to see. 볼 수 있어요. So you can see him easily because he lives in the same neighborhood. Okay. 철수는 한 동네에 사니 쉽게 볼 수 있어요. How would we change this? Well, it's pretty easy again. We just take the future tense version of whatever we're attaching it to. That's it. Future tense of 있다 is 있을. The end. So, 있을 법해요. It seems that it would be the law that, it seems it would be the way that, literally, or it makes sense that you would 볼 수 있어요. Be able to see 철수 easily because 한 동네에 사니, because he lives in the same neighborhood, it makes sense that you'd be able to see him easily. So you're going to meet him easily because he lives in the same neighborhood as you. 철수는 한 동네에 사니 쉽게 볼 수 있을 법해요. That's it. That's how you use this form. You didn't have to use it if you want to make a sentence, but now you're saying, yeah, it makes sense that because Charsu lives in the same neighborhood, that you're going to see him often, that you're going to see him easily. So because Charsu lives in the same neighborhood, it's likely, or it makes sense that you can see him easily. And this 보다 literally means to see, but when you're talking about a person, 보다 can also mean like to meet. So yeah, you're going to run into him. You're going to see him. You're going to meet him easily. Okay, I'm going to leave this up just for a minute because it's our first sentence. I have a few other sentences. But that's all. That's all it is. This form is not that hard. I mean, the hard part about this form is the rest of the sentence. Making sure you can understand the rest of the sentence. The form itself is really straightforward. Just a logical leap. Yes. Leap. You know what makes me upset is they didn't make a third season of the remake of Quantum, not remake, but the sequel to Quantum Leap. Did anyone else watch that? Did anyone watch the original Quantum Leap? I'm kind of upset. Like, I kind of understand, but I'm kind of upset that they couldn't get Scott Bakula back for the for the sequel to Quantum Leap, but the Quantum Leap show the was decent. The sequel also was decent. It was totally watchable. I guess he didn't want to be involved because he thought it might not be very good, but then it turned out to be okay. And then after that, the show didn't get enough viewers, I guess, so they canceled it, but it's just sad. Has ni in the sentence more nuanced meaning? It's nika. It's literally the same form as nika, but the nika version is more colloquial, more everyday sounding. So that's it. But same form. Metric says, I studied 7 hours on sentence endings and other things with your live streams. Nice. Okay, let me give you the next example. Let's just do this. Actually, let's do it like this. Let me think. Okay, this is a basic sentence again, without our form. 잘 모르면. So 모르다 is to not know. So if you don't know something well, if you don't know much about something, 그렇게, literally like that, or just that. 생각하다, to think that. So if you don't know it well, you might think that. 생각할 수 있어요. You could think that if you don't know about it well. 생각할 법해요. 잘 모르면. So if you don't know it well, if you don't know much about it, 그렇게 생각하다, to think like that, to think that. 법해요. It seems to be the way that things are, that if you don't know about it well, you might think that, literally, which sounds messy, but it makes sense that if you don't really know it, well, you could think that. So it makes sense, I guess, if you don't really know about it much, that you could think that, is what the sentence means. So yeah, I mean, you could think that if you don't really know much about it. It makes sense that you would think that. Calling someone out. Like, yeah, no, but you know, 잘 모르면 그렇게 생각할 법해요. It makes sense that you would think that if you don't really know much about it. That's what the sentence means. 잘 모르면 그렇게 생각할 법해요. 그렇게 생각할 법해요. Notice also it's 법해요, because the pronunciation of 법 ends with this letter, and anytime you have this letter after it or before it, it's actually just extra air. This is a sound change rule technically, but you don't even need to remember it as a sound change rule, because it naturally will always happen whether you want it to or not. Because if you add extra air to this, it always becomes pe, 법해요. Whether you like it or not. 법해요 is not how you would say it. You'd say it as one with one breath. 법해요. So that's why this becomes 법. It actually becomes 법. Oops. 법해. 법해요. 법해요 is what you get. 잘 모르면 그렇게 생각할 법해요. 40. Okay. 시그만 먹었으니 it's kind of cut off here. We try to write a little bit higher. Okay. 한국 음식, Korean food. 만, only Korean food. 먹었으니까, 먹었으니. So because you only ate Korean food, 미국 음식, American food, 생각나다. 생각이 나다 means to come to mind, to think about something. Like you keep thinking about it. So it makes sense, 법해요. 생각날 법해요. It makes sense that you're going to think about American food because you've only been eating Korean food. So because you only ate Korean food, say during your trip to Korea, it's likely or it makes sense that you're going to be thinking about American food. 한국 음식만 먹었으니 미국 음식이 생각날 법해요. Again, 한국 음식, Korean food, 미국 음식, American food, 생각나다, to think about something. 먹었으니, because you ate only Korean food, 법해요, 생각날 법해요. It makes sense that you're going to think about American food. I'll leave this up for just a minute, and then we have one more sentence for this form. Then we have another form to go on to, which is even easier than this form. The original be one of the TV's best. Yeah, Keith, the sequel is fun. It's not as like shocking as the first one. The first one I think had a little more depth to it, but it was good enough that I would not like disavow it, the sequel. I wouldn't say like, oh, how is this a sequel? No, it was okay. But yeah, it got canceled. Does ni sound more elegant? Sure, a tiny bit. It's not necessarily an elegant form, but comparatively, sure. 일곱 시간 한국어 공부. Nice. Ministry of... Oh, Mom, hey, just dropping in to say hi. I'm watching Criminal Minds right now, so I can't stay for long. That's no problem. I really like the... Oh my goodness, why can't I think of his name? Patinsky, the main actor guy, Inigo Montoya. I really like him, but I couldn't get into the show very much because it was always too dark. I tried watching it a long time ago, like watching all the episodes and everything. And I really like the main guy. He's great, but I couldn't really get into the show too much. I was a kid when the original version was aired. Really? I was a kid when it was doing like reruns. I never got to see any of the original shows, the original episodes air. Quantum Leap, I remember the episode where they made it home, but they thought it wasn't home because the stoplight was weird, but it was just broken. I don't think I remember that. I saw all the episodes, but it was when I was a kid, like a younger teenager, so I can't remember all of them. I do remember the very ending though, but... Reed. Yeah, a lot of people liked Reed. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because he was kind of cool. Total nerd, but in like a cool way. Or Garcia. Mandy Patinkin. Yeah. Him. I never spell it right too. He's amazing. With the whole time. So I watched that show. I tried to get into that show when I was in college. Because I was dating a girl at the time. It's a personal story. I was dating a girl at the time who loved that show. And she's like, oh, you should watch it too. So I tried to watch it for her. I didn't get into it myself very much, but I really like the main actor. I'm like, this guy is so good. I feel like I know him. I feel like I've seen him before. Just can't put my finger. This was before I knew that you could just search IMDb or that you could just Google this stuff. I was just like, oh, I wonder where he's from. If only there was a way to find out. I don't know. It was pretty dumb of me, but yeah. So, then I later realized, oh, that's Inigo Montoya. Of course I know him. Yeah, no, he's great. Okay. So all the episodes I saw, that was up to 2008, 2009, around then. All of the ones up to then I had seen, but I hadn't seen any of the newer ones. So I'm sure there are a lot more since then. Okay. One more sentence, and then we're going to go on to another form. Why did I do that twice? I'm trying to write the second letter before I write the first letter. Okay, first, 다르게, differently. 다르다, to be different. So 다르게, differently, or in a different way. 이해하다, to understand. So to understand differently, or to think about it, to understand it, to interpret it in a different way. 분, 사람, a person. 분 is just the honorific version of 사람. So 분도 있어요. There are also people who understand it differently. There are also people who think differently, like that. So 다르게 이해하는 분, a person who understands it differently, 또 있어요. There are also people who understand it differently. Okay. What can we do with this? Again, really easy to use this form. And you could also do 법합니다. I'm using just 법해요 for all of them, just to keep it simple, but you don't have to. I just wanted to show it's not only used in formal speech, so I focused on sentences where it's always 해요. 다르게 이해하는 분도 있을 법해요. So, it seems to be the law that, literally, or it makes sense that there would be people also who understand it differently. It makes sense that other people would understand this differently. Not everyone's going to have the same opinion. Some people are going to understand it in a different way or interpret it in a different way. 다르게 이해하는 분도 있을 법해요. 있을 법해요. So, would be, it makes sense that there would be also 또 people who understand this in a different way. I'll leave this up for a minute and then we're going to go on to our next form, which is even easier than this form. You killed my father. Prepare to die. It's the first thing I try to translate. Yeah, I don't know what they do for that translation. Koreans don't know Princess Bride though. Funnily enough, there are different types of movies that Koreans know. Like, for example, Koreans know Home Alone 2, I believe, more than Home Alone 1. Koreans know, what else do they know? To correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard more people mention Home Alone 2 in New York than they have the first one. They also know, oh yeah, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 2, more than Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 1. Like, what? So there are different movies. Oh, and some of them actually know Monty Python. How? Like, it's huge all over the world, but some Korean people know that too. So there's some certain movies that Koreans do know, but then like there's like a big block of other ones that they don't have like much cultural experience with, like Star Wars. There aren't that many Star Wars fans in Korea compared to, say, anywhere else in the world, like in the US. Is this similar to saying 역시? Nope. 역시 is simply an adverb that means as I expected. Violetta, that's not the reason. The reason is because, my guess is because that was the one that was shown more often on TV when that generation were kids, but I'm not sure. Valeria's question. What's Valeria's question? I don't see. My friends kind of hated me for a bit. Nice. Mom says, I like how dark it is. Oh, you're talking about Criminal Minds, because I like how yeah, that's right. Yeah, it seemed a little bit too realistic, which was also my beef with Medium. If anyone watched Medium, that's the show I watched every episode from the beginning to the end. I liked it though, but what turned me off a little bit from it is how realistic it is, because I like watching shows for entertainment. I don't want to watch a show for realism 100%. Like I want realism within the show, but it doesn't have to be like real in the real world. Like it can be real within the show as long as it follows its own rules it has. That's okay. But once it starts getting like real outside of the show, I feel like I could just turn on the news. Like I could just watch a documentary. Like, why am I watching this? I'm not a huge fan of documentaries. So for me, I prefer more like fiction, or maybe realistic fiction is okay a little bit. But once it gets like really real, it's like, it's not entertaining anymore. It's stressful. It becomes kind of stressful to watch. I want to know that, not that everything's going to be okay in the show, but I want to know that it's going to follow its own rules and keep out of the real world, I guess. So that's kind of what bugged me with it, made it hard for me to watch Criminal Minds, is it's always like stressful to watch. I'm like, oh, this feels too real. Like, I don't want to see this. Some of the episodes weren't, though. They're obviously not. Oh man, there was an episode where the main guy, I can't remember the names of the characters, but the main guy, Mandy, the actor, where he was like tricking this guy in prison into making him think that like an attack had already occurred at this one place, and like praying with him every day and everything. Like that type of fiction, if you know what the episode I'm talking about, totally fine, because it's completely fictitious. But other stuff was like, I don't want to see how this, criminal does this thing. Like, I don't want to know that. Okay. Whereas Medium seemed like, since it was all fictitious anyway, it was a little bit easier to watch because they were doing like realistic situations, but she's not really a medium. Like, it's just a fictitious show. So it was fine. It was more like supernatural style show. So I was able to consume that a little bit more easily than I could Criminal Minds. But yeah, nothing against anyone who likes it. It wasn't my cup of tea. Although to be fair, neither is this stuff. It's like pretty gross. Okay. This is our next form. Now, the way it works is exactly like before. You take a verb, you change it into an adjective in the future tense. So that's always going to end in this, either a or a lir. And you could also use that past future tense I showed you as well. So like 했을, like that. And then instead of popoida, which meant it seems like it would be the way that, so it makes sense that it would be. Now it's potoda. To is even, also, or to, right? So this means like it seems that there's also the way things are that this happens. It seems there's also the law that something happens. If we look at this a little bit differently, we have these three forms. Poida. It is the law that something is, right? Only used with the present tense adjective. So it is that way. Okay, we already understand this one. That's how it is. It's natural that that would happen. But popoida, we can look at this a little bit differently. So I said that it means like it makes sense that something would happen. Literally, it seems that it would be that way. So it would be that way. You can kind of reinterpret this as meaning like a possibility. So like there is the possibility of something being that way, right? It kind of means like that. Like it makes sense that someone would do something. It's kind of the same as saying it's possible that someone could do something and I'd understand it. Like, right? It kind of makes sense that way. So if we look at it that way, potoda can also be kind of in that way. There is also the possibility of something, and I would understand that. Okay. So what does that mean practically? This means there is also the likelihood of something to happen or something to be. This one is less confident than popoida. So you're not saying something definitely seems that way. It makes sense that something would be that way. You're saying, I guess, like it likely will be, or it seems that something is, or it would make sense that something is. So let me give you a translation that might help. Instead of saying like, oh, it ought to be, you might just say, it likely might. It's a little less confident. Instead of saying it makes sense that, I wrote that really messy. It would make sense that. So it's the same thing, right? It makes sense that, it would make sense that, so it's a little bit less confident, but the meaning is the exact same as popoida. So you can replace popoida with potoda without any change in the overall meaning, but there's a nuance difference. And that nuance difference is this one's less confident. It's like, yeah, it would make sense that, I guess. It seems it would be that way. So that's it though. And I'm going to give you some examples of this as well. Okay, let's break up this sentence to make it easier to understand. 눈이 오다, literally snow comes. It to snow. 눈이 오다, to snow. 눈이 올 법도 해요. So it makes sense, or it would make sense that it would snow. 한데, but 대. Notice that it's 한데 and not 하는데. That's because 하다, again, 법도 하다 and 법하다. 하다 is a descriptive verb, so it would not conjugate 하는데. That would be an action verb. 한데 비, rain. 비만, only rain, came. It only rained. So it would have made sense for it to rain, but it just, So it would have made sense for it to snow, but it only rained. It just rained. So it was likely that it would snow, or it's likely it will snow, or it would make sense that it would rain, but why do I keep saying rain? I think I'm looking at here. So it's likely that it'll rain. Oh, I see. I think I mixed them up on here. I'll switch them before I upload this. Okay. It's likely that it will snow. It makes sense, or it would make sense that it will snow, but it's just raining. I'll leave the sentence up for a minute and then I'll go on to the next one. If Billy's name wasn't Billy, it could be Sean. Do I have a Sean face? Sean! Mom says, Supernatural. I think I saw a couple episodes of that show too. Someone told me I look like someone on that show. Is that right? I heard someone told me before I look like one of the characters on Supernatural, but I don't know which one it was. Is there a character named Sean on Supernatural? Is that who you're comparing me to? I have seen a couple episodes of it. One thing I saw their Scooby-Doo episode, which was great. And have you seen Psych? I watched a little bit. I didn't get into it though, but I did. One of my friends recommended Psych to me a long time ago. I never got into it. I didn't see it enough. Maybe I watched one episode, or maybe I didn't even watch it. I feel like I must have watched at least one because my friend kept bugging me about it. Garth? I don't know. I don't know who it was. Just someone mentioned Supernatural to me a couple times. Like, oh, Billy, you look like this character from Supernatural. You're banned for not getting into Psych. No, I didn't get into Psych, but the reason my friend would recommend Psych to me is because I said I was into Mentalist. The Mentalist. I used to watch The Mentalist, which was fun, until after the third season, and then it just kind of became like straight up trash. Okay. I hope this doesn't offend. Actually, in fact, anyone who's a fan of the show, this probably doesn't offend you. This is probably cathartic to hear. That show was trash after season 3. It just became let's pretend that we're shipping these two characters together. You know what? Let's actually put them together anyway. And let's discard the rest of the reason that people like the show. And let's just make this a romance show with a detective theme. Yeah, it just devolved very quickly after season 3. But up until season 3, that show was great. Mentalist. Okay. Maybe Castiel? I don't know. Psych. Is that the one that has Brendan Fraser as like a small role in the show. Am I thinking of the right show? Am I thinking of a different show? Okay. I don't want to ramble for too long. Got to keep on the lesson. We'll ramble after the lesson's done, but we still have a few more sentences. Okay. Sounds like what Rooster Teeth did to... maybe, okay. BBC Sherlock. Yeah, that's what The Mentalist was like. It was Sherlock Holmes who can do carnival tricks, like pretend to be a psychic. So it was fun. It wasn't like Medium where you have to assume that she's a real psychic. This was a guy who pretends to be it, but he's really good at pretending it so that people would think he really was. And sometimes he'd use that. But it was Sherlock Holmes at its heart. And after season 3, they're like, Sherlock who? This is a show about the two main leads falling in love while the main lead does stuff that makes them look cool. So they just threw it out the window. So yeah, I stopped watching. Actually, I stopped watching. I actually kept watching it anyway, but it wasn't good. You're like hate watching it at that point. Although I didn't quite hate it, it just really went down, and they start. It was just not good. Okay, 한 번, one time, 한 번만, only once. 더, again, or more, 했으면. So if you only did it once more, or if I'd only tried once more, 성공하다, to succeed, to be successful. 성공, here we have the past future tense. 했을. So 했어요, I succeeded. 했을, would have succeeded. 법도 하다. It would make sense that I would have succeeded, or I think I likely would have succeeded if I tried once more, but 한데 아쉽네요. Oh, that's too bad. 아쉽다 is something that's too bad when you've like missed out on something. You missed your chance. It's too bad. 아쉽다. Oh, that's too bad. 아쉽네요. Man, it's too bad. 한 번만 더 했으면 성공했을 법도 한데 아쉽네요. If I just did it once more, it's likely I would have succeeded, but it's too bad. So it would have made sense that I would have succeeded. It would make sense that I would have succeeded, or I likely would have succeeded. Again, it's the same thing as popoida, but with less confidence. You're not saying, oh yeah, I definitely would have, or I ought to have, or it totally would make sense that I would have succeeded. You're like, I think I would have. I likely would have. But 아쉽네요. Too bad. 한 번만 더 했으면 성공했을 법도 한데 아쉽네요. If I did it just once more, it's likely I would have succeeded, but it's too bad. I'll leave this up for a minute, and then we'll do our last sentence for this lesson. Elementary. Coriette says, I love Sherlock rebrands. House MD. Yeah, that's true. House MD is a Sherlock rebrand. 100%. And kind of entertaining. He does some, like, the medical stuff on there is not that accurate from what I've heard, but it's a unique twist on the Sherlock Holmes formula. So it was okay. And yeah, the actor Hugh Laurie, I think he's great. Hello, teacher. I'm 1 week into Korean, and your guide has been amazing for me. Nice. Nice, Dorito. You're my favorite chip. Lady Natbug says, Elementary. Oh, I guess there's a show called Elementary. Okay. Yes, House. There aren't too many. Oh, Psych is the Mentalist. That's what I heard. Yeah, that's what that's my friend was pitching it to me as. They're saying it's Mentalist, but it's goofy. So yeah, I never got into. The one with Brendan Fraser. Oh, that's Scrubs. That's right. Okay. Because I've seen a couple episodes of that as well. Billy, look up the actor Misha Collins. That could be the one. Okay, let me search for Misha Collins. Yes. Yeah, that's the one. That's the guy that I've heard. I don't see it at all. I don't get it, but I've heard a couple people say this. Though really the one that I hear the most on a daily basis is Charlie Puth. Charlie Puth, I will acknowledge, I do look like him. He looks kind of normal. I look like him. I'm not going to say I look like some like giant celebrity or something, but I'll take Charlie Puth. Yeah, he does look like me. I was born first, so he looks like me, not the other way around. Hey, Nastaria. Thank you, Nastaria. Nastaria with our quarter of the hour donation. I just like that I can scroll on this tablet, which is nice. Yeah, Charlie Puth, and then a close second is Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I also hear that a lot in real life as well. Outside of YouTube, people have told me, "Oh, you kind of look like Jake Peralta from the show," and all I can say to that is noise. Point. Okay, one more sentence. Oh, that's bad. Let's do that again. 더 봤을 또 한데. You don't have to use with 한데 for all of them. Just these ones in the outline for this lesson right now you do, but you'll see more uses in the worksheet if you get that. So I don't want you to think it's only used in this sort of form. Okay. 지나가다. So 지나다 is to pass by, but in no specific direction. 지나가다 is to go by. You're passing by someone as you go somewhere. So 지나가면서, while you're passing by, going somewhere. 보다, to see. In this case, 봤을 법. Would have seen while passing by. 또 한데. So there's also the possibility that you would have seen them while passing by, or I would have seen them while passing by. But 기억이 나다 is to remember something. 기억이 안 나요. I can't remember it. The memory doesn't come to me. I can't remember it. 기억이 안 나요. 지나가면서 봤을 법도 한데 기억이 안 나요. So it's likely I likely saw it or saw them while passing by, but I don't remember. There is also the possibility that I would have seen while passing by, but I can't remember. It would make sense that I would have seen them or that while passing by, but I can't remember. Any way you want to translate it is fine. Again, you can see it's the same thing as popoida, but less certain. You're not saying, yeah, it seems like there's the possibility. It's like, I guess, yeah, likely, it should have. It's a little less confident than popoida. And again, here with the past tense, with that future tense stem, 봤을. So it's commonly used that way. It seems likely that I would have done, in this case, would have seen. I'll leave this up for a minute. 9, yes. Nastaria says, I forgot, I'll start. No problem. No, it's whatever you prefer. Cool. No doubt. Billy, I'm going to go just so I don't miss Criminal Minds. Okay. So might have or probably can work for this. Yeah, that works. Yeah, those two are the ones that I'll accept. I've heard some other ridiculous comparisons, like older Koreans had said I looked like other actors that I don't think so, but I think I would take Charlie Puth and a little bit Jake Peralta. If I had different hair, I think I could probably pull that off as like a Halloween costume. What does Ketsi? That's Ketta with the chi ending. But I have 2 separate live streams for that. So Ketta is the future tense, like would be or will be. And chi is when you're saying something that requests the other person to agree with you. Like, right? Isn't it? Eh? Huh? Like that. So that's all it is. It would be, right? Clara says, I only have an A2 level, but you made everything clear. I'm able to follow along. Nice. Billy asks, oh, no, not Billy asks. M asks, Billy, how does it feel to like never run out of study content to cover because Korean grammar has no end? Feels good. Feels good. My current show is The Rookie, says Kai. What's that? I've never seen it before, but keep seeing clips online. I've never heard of that show. There are so many shows. Lately, the show that I'm watching, I don't watch shows very much. I used to watch a lot more shows. Up until I was in college, I'd watch a lot of shows, but I just kind of stopped because I didn't have time. I'll watch movies now, but the only show I'm watching right now is a little show called Severance. I like it. Okay. And that is the lesson. Let me take a quick thumbnail. I think that'll be a thumbnail. I think that's okay. Yeah. Now I'm going to take questions. I would say, oh, I don't have to take questions until the tablet dies. I can take questions whenever I want because this tablet still has 83%. Nice. It's about a man in his 40s that becomes a cop and follows him and his fellow officers on patrol. Oh, okay. A cop show. Have I seen any cop dramas before? Police Squad, does that count? There used to be a lot of cop shows in like the 60s and not as many these days. Yeah, that's the one that comes to mind is Police Squad. Probably not the same thing. Nathan Fillion. Oh, okay. Nathan Fillion. I get why. I see why you watch it. Yeah. Castle and pretty much everything. Firefly was one of those shows that, you know, it just didn't have enough fan base. You know, the studio put all the episodes correctly in the right order and advertised the heck out of it. Am I right? It just didn't get enough fan base, and that's why it got canceled. It's really too bad when you think about it. That's right. Police Squad is too old for me. No, Keith, Police Squad is always young for everyone. You can still watch it and enjoy it. It has not aged a day. Although originally when it came out, of course, it was parodying all of those police and detective stories and shows of that time. Nowadays, there aren't so many, so you're not going to see a lot of the comparisons with that anymore. But even if you don't know it and just watch it as it is, yeah, it's still pretty funny. You must be with us till that tablet dies. I'm afraid if I do that, then I might die because I'm going to need water. I'm going to need to breathe. I'm going to need to edit this video. I'll probably fall asleep before this tablet dies. Firefly drama. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it ran its course. It had plenty of episodes. You know, there's just no more story to tell. I think they summed it all up at the last episode, don't you? No cliffhangers or anything. Valeria asks, you're asking if we can add endings like Neo, Tio. Yeah, of course. You can add those to any form you'd like. Lady Natbug, Monk. I watched a little bit of Monk. I think I saw the entire first season of that. It's funny. It wasn't again, that wasn't really a show for me because I don't know. It was a bit too goofy, I guess. Like, I love the actor. He's fantastic. And of course, he's great in pretty much everything, of course, of Galaxy Quest, of course, but I'm saying, of course, a lot. Yeah, Monk was pretty fun. I just didn't get into it that much to keep watching it, but I don't regret starting it. Anyone watch Scorpion? Never heard of it. Numbers. Never saw that. I think I heard of it. Yeah, feel free, anyone who's here. I know. There are other things. There are other things you could be doing, but I appreciate your spending the time with me. Any questions you have, now is the perfect time to ask. You can tell I watch a lot of TV. I mean, I used to watch a lot of TV. I just haven't, because since I started this YouTube channel, I'd say especially, I haven't really had much time to, like, on a regular basis. Obviously, I do take some free time every now and then, but like on a regular basis to watch a TV show, you need like an hour every single day, 2 hours a day to devote to that. Sometimes longer if you want to watch multiple episodes. So I try not to get into TV shows unless it's like really good nowadays. Like if everyone says that show's incredible and I watch an episode and I think this show's incredible for me, then I'll watch it. Otherwise, I mean, I don't watch like 90% of the shows that come out. Even more than that. I ended up watching the Mandalorian because my younger brother recommended that to me. But then I only liked the first season or two. And then after that, it's like, I just don't really get into shows that easily. It needs to really hook me for me to want to watch the show more than like 1 or 2 episodes. 여긴 늦어서 갈게요. All right, take care, Em. 모임에 오겠지, 모임에 올 법하다. I try to watch old style, no Bing, just one at a time. Do you insert commercials in there yourself, like old style? And you have to watch them out of order. Like start with like season 3, episode 2, when you first watch it, and then you have to finish watching season 3 until like the next year when the TV station it goes into syndication and they start from the episode 1, and then you can watch the first season and you're like, I see why they got rid of that character. Like, you got to watch it in that order. That's the real old order. And then you miss an episode because you didn't get home in time. So you never know what happened between these 2 episodes. You just see the characters are like looking at each other kind of weird. That's the real old style of watching episodes. That's what I had to do. And then if you're like, when can I watch that episode again? You got to open the TV guide. And you're like, well, let's see. It's going to be in this channel at 4 p.m. on this day. I can rewatch that episode. And then you have to like tape it, put in like a VHS tape, rewind it back to the beginning so you can tape over Power Rangers, stuff like that. I don't miss it. I don't miss the old days. The new days are much better. Yeah, TV guide channel. And I'm not even old. This is like this wonderful world where you could just turn on anything you want at any time is very new. I'd say even like 10 years ago, this sort of thing wasn't like a possibility. It wasn't an everyday thing. You still had to like buy the regular channel on TV to watch it, or buy the actual DVD when the season came out. Bawu War, I can't pronounce your name, but you say, sometimes I have so much confidence in Korean, but every time I watch a video, I feel like, oh, I need to learn more, or I'm not good enough, and I can't help but compare with non-native Korean speakers. Maybe it makes you feel worse, or maybe it makes you feel better, but I also feel like, oh, I need to learn more Korean, even where I'm at, 20 years now. And I have a video coming up, actually, probably in a couple months, I'll upload it. I just filmed it, but it's not edited, it's not finished or anything. I have to do some more stuff for it. It's not done, but maybe in the next 2 months, you'll see a video I'm going to do for my 20th anniversary. And I'll talk about this sort of stuff as well. But yeah, don't compare yourself with other people, because other people have completely different experiences from you. And they might not also be telling you the whole story. Maybe they don't understand the whole story of how he got to where they did. That's just normal, but don't compare yourself with other people, because that's a really quick way to get rid of your motivation, is by thinking, oh, I should be better. I'm not doing a good job. Oh, that's not really true. The person did a completely different thing than you. If you had done the same thing as that person, you would be exactly where that person is in their Korean learning. Just keep that in mind. Diane Anderson, sorry, I'll catch this episode later. I'm watching the Super. What's the Super Bowl? What's that? Nastaria says, oh no, Kai says, Nastaria, I really like Scorpion, but the ending sucked because they tried to force the network to do another season. One of those situations. My mom used to get mad at me when I would tape over her General Hospital. Why do you get mad about General Hospital? Is never gonna. You don't have to watch those episodes. You're missing out on nothing by missing any of those episodes, because it's just like it never ends. There's nothing happening. You can, like, a character could be like, I'm gonna leave, and then like 2 years later they're still there, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna get married, and like 5 years later they're saying the same stuff. Oh, we're gonna get married tomorrow. That show is just, it's amazing how long that show has been going on. There are people that don't know the Super Bowl. Is that like a supermarket? But you can only buy bowls? I'm not really sure what that is. Korean says, I know, and she would have already seen them. I just wanted my episodes of SpongeBob, man. SpongeBob, yeah. I like SpongeBob. SpongeBob is cool. I like the original episodes. I think were better than the newer episodes, but it's still okay. It's still okay. The older episodes, though, were kind of more in line with Ren and Stimpy. They were like more out there, like really weird and unique. And that's why I really like the older ones better. But the characters themselves are still kind of fun. It's Pee-wee Herman animated. It's just Pee-wee animated version of SpongeBob. So it's good. And I like Pee-wee. So I think, oh, hold on. Kai says, no, I think that's the new salad restaurant, Super Bowl. Interesting. Is it good? If they have a lot of toppings, I might try it. I like a good salad bar, salad bowl, Super Bowl. Okay, I get it. I get where the name came from. Yeah, that makes sense. Super Bowl, like salad bowl. Does anyone have any Korean questions? What are we even doing? What are we even doing here? Let's get some Korean questions in here. Nastaria says, I thought Super Bowl was a song by Stray Kids. Oh, you know what? You could be right. That could be a Stray Kids song. Supper Bowl is Ramen House. Supper Bowl. Maybe it's the Supper Bowl. Maybe I've been reading it wrong the whole time. Like a ramen restaurant would be like your supper bowl, or like a soup restaurant. Yeah, like a soup and salad place could be called Supper Bowl. It's like Chipotle, but instead of burrito bowls, it's salad. Yeah, they do. Oh, you know, you're probably right. The Super Bowl is probably like the extra large size that they have at Chipotle. Maybe they like stick two of their bowls together so you get a really big one for people who like want to share. That probably is what it, so far this seems like the most likely definition. I'm not quite sure yet, but that seems the most likely so far. The Super Bowl. Maybe it's like how when you go to the restaurant and they say, would you like super salad? Maybe it's like, would you like soup? Maybe it's like that. Like a really big salad, right? And I say, no, just a regular. God, someone ask a Korean question, please. We're getting way off track. Talking about salad. Talking about soup. Popoida is a commonly used form for possibility, Keith asks. Yes, popoida is very common, although popoida has more of like a regular spoken, like it seems like it would be sort of feel to it, as well as poptohada. Yeah, these are common. You'll now that you know these, you're going to hear them. Kai says, studying Korean. Oh, great. Thank goodness. It's a Korean related question. Will you only really know your intonation is good when you start speaking with natives? Well, you're going to need to get feedback from someone. So you could ask a non-native teacher, how is my intonation? And they can tell you. But for intonation wise, you're going to know yourself, because you're going to hear yourself when you speak Korean, and you're going to know, does this sound kind of like what a Korean would say or not? You're going to know that yourself. So you don't really need someone else to tell you about your intonation that much. Once you're at a point where you can already speak Korean, you're going to know if your intonation's okay or not. But if you want to know, if you still want more feedback, just get any sort of teacher to tell you, like, give me pointers on my intonation, tell me where my intonation's weird or whatever. But generally, your intonation is just going to be whatever it is that you copy from the people that you listen to a lot. So whatever your exposure is, whoever you're listening to for exposure, that's going to be the type of intonation that you copy. And I'm someone where I tend to copy the way that the person I'm with speaks without doing it on purpose. It just happens. If I'm hanging out with one of my friends who speaks dialect, I just subconsciously start talking a little bit with their intonation and their accent. Even though I'm not doing it on purpose, it just kind of comes out that I'll start imitating their style of speak. It's just what happens. So whoever you spend the most time with, whoever you're listening to the most, that's kind of how the intonation is that you're going to get. That's kind of the intonation you're going to end up having. Keith says, oh yeah, I know how bad I sound, LOL. And whenever I shadow, says Kai, I sound so nasally. Nasally. Is the person you're shadowing, do they sound like that? Like, are you kind of doing it accurately? It doesn't sound right to you, but you're doing it how you think they say it? Or is this an issue of they're not doing it for some reason? It comes out nasally when I do it. Which one is it? A or B? If it's A, where they are doing it and I can't imitate it that well, that's fine. There's no problem with that. Just listen to them more and you'll get better at it. If it's a B issue where they're not doing it and you are, I would say practice it louder. The reason it's coming out nasally is probably because you're being too timid in your pronunciation. You don't want to disturb the person sitting next to you. You don't want to bother people in your house or your neighbors or whatever by speaking out loud when you're doing shadowing. So because of that, you're speaking really softly. Your voice is deeper in your throat and it comes out nasally, in which case I would say practice louder. Try speaking louder than the person that you're shadowing, if that's issue B. Mitch says, I don't even learn Korean yet. Your videos were recommended because of ATs. Nice. Jihoon says, Billy can speak more than native in Korean. No, I wouldn't say I'm better than a native ever. There are obviously going to be things I know that natives don't know, especially when it comes to grammar rules or spelling or, meanings of stuff or proper usage of stuff. Yeah, but not general speaking. Natives are always going to be better because they've had more experience speaking than I could have had. They'll have, 20, 30, 40 years of living in Korea and using it all day. And me, if I put together all the time I've spent in Korea, it's going to be under 4 years. And all the time I've spent practicing Korean, studying Korean is still going to be only a fraction of the past 20 years. So yeah, I can't beat a native ever just because they're living in Korean. Mystaria says, I'm trying to figure out ways to remember intonation with shadowing because my brain pulls from so many people. I want to speak like it's, yeah. You're probably doing too many people. Can you try to reduce the number of people that you're listening to? Though it's not a huge issue. Like, this becomes more of an issue when you are trying to refine your speaking, not so much in the beginning where you're just trying to learn how people say things, what pronunciation is. But eventually, if you wanted to refine your speaking, like, oh, I feel like I always sound a little bit awkward or whatever, that's at the point where you would say you would pick one person that you want to start copying. And to find one person, you can do podcasts. It's going to be the same hosts. One person for that. And then streamers. These days, before I would have said Twitch, but now Twitch is gone in Korea and there aren't very many Twitch streamers left. YouTube streamers. Find a YouTuber and listen to their live streams just so they're talking. There's no script. Or one of the YouTube channels I recommended in my podcasts video, which I did a few months ago. One of those, which is just the same speaker. And listen to only that person's videos for like a month. Only listen to their videos for a month or so. And that'll help with that as well. But I wouldn't stress about that. in general. Like, it's not gonna, like, listening to multiple people isn't gonna mess up your intonation or something. It's just not gonna help you really fine tune it to get to something that sounds really natural. You say you're shadowing Samo Chidi. Yeah. Yeah, his Korean's good. His Korean's really good. I wouldn't use him for shadowing, no offense, but I wouldn't use me for shadowing. I wouldn't use a non-native. Even if they're Korean but lived outside of Korea, I would not use a non-native for shadowing. I would go to the clearest speaker that you can find that sounds like how you want to speak for Korean. Now, if you want to speak like Samo Chidi, who's the celebrity in Korea you're talking about, then I take it all back. Go ahead. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're going to end up speaking like him. So if that's what you want, go ahead. He's a really good Korean speaker. Lady Natbook said, I've been going to my local Korean Greenland market and talking to my Korean neighbor. I'm finding what has been working for me is just adding a new word each time. Xandria says, if I watch a live from someone from Busan, let's say Jeongguk, would you say most idols wash out their local dialect in favor of more standard Korean? Just wondering if it's safe to shadow him. Xandria asks a really good question. Is it safe to shadow someone who's from a place that has dialect? And the answer is maybe. Is it someone, first of all, you have to figure out, is that someone who actually uses dialect? In Jeongguk's case, no, he does not use dialect. You are safe shadowing BTS Jeongguk because he does not speak dialect. He can a little bit because he's from the area, but he doesn't. Most celebrities, actors, singers, anyone who appears on media who's younger than like 40 won't speak in their dialect, even if they grew up speaking that way. There are some celebrities who do, but they're the exception. So you're going to be safe following someone from an area. Now, I said celebrities, I didn't say regular streamers. Streamers are they care less about that usually. Like regular YouTube streamers, they're just going to talk how they normally talk. Most of the time I've seen anyway. So you're probably going to be a little more careful with that. But for celebrities, go ahead. You're going to be safe for that for the most part. Now, for someone else, if you follow them and they actually do have a dialect, and you can usually tell from their intonation, if they have a dialect, then you just have to decide, do I want to sound like that? If not, then don't make them the only listening practice you're doing. You can still listen to them. Just try to add in other listening resources that will speak in a way that you eventually want to sound more like. Fine then, I'll shadow Jeremy. Wait, which Jeremy are you talking about? Are you talking about my kid, Jeremy? Jeremy, I mean, his Korean sounds okay. Yeah, it's probably okay, except that he's a kid. You probably don't want to shadow a child unless you want to end up with a really high-pitched, curious sounding voice. He's very dramatic in how he speaks. But yeah. Sandra says, if I have a hard time telling if there's a dialect at all, the way you can tell is the intonation. If their intonation is straightforward, they're not using dialect. I can guarantee you, no one is going around speaking Busan dialect with a Seoul intonation. That's just weird. All the dialects have their own different intonation, even the ones that sound soft, like the dialects in Chungcheongdo, which are like slower and softer. You can hear it does more of a like kind of an up and down, like what you'll hear in Busan. I say Busan dialect, but really it's not just Busan dialect. It's any dialect in the area at all, and that entire area has a lot of those same features. So, and each one is a little bit different. But if you don't hear any unique intonation, they are not speaking in dialect. They could be using a dialect word, like they're teaching a dialect word, but they're not going to be speaking in the dialect if their intonation is the same as normal. Kai, donation sent. Is that going to be the new message? Donation sent. And then I got to go over here and check my mail. Making me walk all the way over here to my computer. Kai. Thank you. Thank you, Kai. to update that here. I also have some new videos coming out. Oh, let's see. When is this one coming out? I have another one coming out. I don't know when it's going to be. The end of this month, I've got 2 new cheat sheets coming out. I'll let you guys know since you're here watching in the live stream. 2 new cheat sheets are going to be coming out the end of this month. I think, yeah, the end of this month. Yeah. And then I'm going to have a couple more after that, a couple more after that. So we got some new, cool new cheat sheets coming in. Get those steps. Yeah, I got both of those steps in. Thank you, Kai. Nastaria says if he walks to check his computer and we cash in the dabs, he gets a full body workout. Speaking of workouts, Jeremy, to limit his screen time, so he doesn't get unlimited screen time for playing his games, Minecraft, I should say. He has to earn his screen time by doing various activities. And he can choose like which activities he wants to do, like practicing the piano or whatever. One of the ways he can get time for screen time is exercising, like doing lots of push-ups or sit-ups, stuff like that. So today he did 100 push-ups and 200 sit-ups, one after the other, back to back, to earn himself some screen time for today. So my goal as a parent is hopefully to encourage him to get nice muscles so he can be really strong. So I think that would be really, really good. For me though, it's a little too late for me, but at least I can get my dabs. You say you chose Pyonghwa for your Korean name. You probably won't need a Korean name. I made a separate video all about Korean names, but I would recommend not making a Korean name for yourself. Unless you are planning on becoming a Korean citizen, in which case you probably would need one. Otherwise, you wouldn't need, otherwise you're not going to have any situation where you use your Korean name, except to tell people who ask you, do you have a Korean name? You can say, yes, I do. It's this. But actually never using it. I haven't found a single situation where you would ever need to use a Korean name. Ever. Except for that. Like I said, those 2 things. One is if you become a Korean citizen, in which case people will create a Korean name for that. So it's easy for like documentation and stuff. But they won't even use that name just for legal work sometimes. And then the other option would be someone says, hey, Billy, do you have a Korean name? You're like, oh yeah, I do. It's this. They're like, okay, cool. That's it. But never actually using it. So just keep that in mind. If you're wondering about a Korean name, a more useful Korean name is just your name written in Korean, not an actual Korean name. If you're there is an alternative though. If you have a name that means something really specific, like if your name is like Crystal in English, your name's Crystal, or your name's Violet, right? Or your name is like Mountain, or something really specific, like a word. And if that word in Korean is also used as a name, feel free to use it. In that case, you're safe because you can tell someone your name and it really is your name. And they're going to say, well, what's your real name? And you can say, that's my real name. And it is. And then it's cool. That's an exception to where you can use a Korean name. That's not just the name written, translated, but your actual name in Korean and have it be socially acceptable. But besides that, no. Like for example, Sujong is Crystal and that's the name, Crystal. Poida would be purple or violet or whatever like that. You can have, your name is San if you're Mountain. Like there could be someone named Mountain, then you can use that for your name. What's the exchange rate on that workout though, Jeremy's lawyer? So currently he gets about 10 minutes of screen time for every 10 push-ups that he does and 10 minutes of screen time for every 20 sit-ups that he does. So he earned 200 minutes of screen time from that exercise he did, which took maybe about 10 minutes to do. Oh, Keith says you mentioned a Sugashosoyo deeper dive. Yeah, that's going to come out. Normally, okay, I apologize. Normally it was going to come out earlier, but because I changed my live schedule, it gets pushed to when I don't have a live stream, which means possibly next Monday? Yeah, possibly next Monday. You'll see that video about sugohada and 고생하다, which is, yeah, funny. Funny you asked. But yeah, it should be next Monday. I used to put up the Korean FAQs like every other week, but now I started doing more live streams. We find these terms acceptable. 200 minutes will suffice. My nickname is Nabi. Okay, so your name called Nabi. Oh, Mitch is asking, I wonder if there are people actually called Mountain. Yes, there are. I knew a guy named Storm. I knew a girl named Misty. I knew a guy named Wolf. I heard of someone named Mountain. There are, like, I think these are some, what's the word? Native American names. And so you can get names like that as well. But there are a lot of names that you can translate as words that can work in Korean as well. Nabi. Nabi meaning butterfly, of course. If your name in English is butterfly, you could use Nabi. Otherwise, I wouldn't use this because, well, it's kind of funny. Nabi is what you call strange cats, like cats like a street cat that you don't know their name. You could just call out to them as Nabi. Nabia, Nabi. It's just a default name. Like when you create your character for your name and it gives you a default name for your game and you don't touch it, you get not like Nabi is the default name for characters for, sorry, I'm giving an analogy. It's actually not. There would be 홍길동 would be the default for like documents, but Nabi is like default cat name is Nabi. So people are going to think of a random stray cat if you say Nabi. There are a couple other words they use too. You'll hear like 치즈. It's like an orange cat, like cheese. You'll hear 고등어. 고등어 means mackerel, like the fish. This would be like a gray tabby cat. These are other cat types, like just random nicknames for types of cats. But Nabi is the most general one for just any sort of random cat you see. Nabia. And then, of course, which actually I don't think Korean cats care so much about. I've tried it a bunch. Maybe Korean cats just don't like me. Lady Nat says, I'm a cat lady. Well, there you go. Perfect. Like John Doe for a cat. So there is a John Doe in Korean. 홍길동. 홍길동 is basically, he's like, I mean, people compare him to Robin Hood, though his story is not Robin Hood, but it's the closest approximation would be, this is Robin Hood, the story of Robin Hood if he had magical powers in Korea. It's a really old story. Anyway, 홍길동 is the name of the main character guy who's like, he always has different powers. Total random garbage, doesn't make any sense, not consistent, but it's famous. Anyway, this is the default name, like John Doe on if you like go to open a bank account and it'll have like write your name here and it'll have like really light letters that show you where your name will go. It'll write 홍길동 on those documents. That's the default name for an unknown name, not for someone who's passed away in like a criminal case. I believe there's a different word for that I can't think of right now. But 홍길동 would be for like document, like the default name for that. But yeah, Nabi is definitely cats. Do you know tuxedo cat term? Oh, I don't know. I know what you're talking about. The cats that have like the white chest area here and the rest of them are black. Yeah. My offline name is Jesse. Would I be a blank if I constantly correcting them not to make the SH sound in Jesse? No, because they don't have a Jesse. They don't have that sound, C, in Korean. So someone who's very familiar with speaking a foreign language can make that sound. If you tell them it's Jessie, they'll do it for you. They'll say, oh, Jessie, Jessie, 언니, Jessie, 누나. They'll try it. But if you write it, they're going to say it as Jessie. It's always just Jessie. So if you don't like it, change your name. Tell them, why don't you try like Jessa? Or like, it's not a name, but you can say, you can change it, or Jessica if you want. Or J. You can also do J. I've heard some people use J. Males usually use it a lot too. For just the initial J, you can do J. Like J-Hope, you know, J-Hope. Same thing, J. You can say your name's J. It as being short for that. So you can kind of get around it if it really rubs you the wrong way. Sonia says, random question, but I want to start live streams on YouTube, but I'm nervous to start. Do you have any tips for going live as cool as a cucumber as you do it? I don't do it cool. And I've been doing live streams here since 2018. So I've got like I've gotten over almost 6 years of experience doing this now on a regular basis. Let me see. What tip could I give you? How do I act natural on live streams? Except for the fact that I don't. What do I do? Yeah. I would just say, do it. Do it. Do it now. And let yourself relax. Get a drink. Don't do food, but I would say get a drink. Oh, speak up. I feel like when you speak louder, it kind of helps you pretend that you have confidence. At least it works for me. So if I'm like doing the live streams and I'm like talking like this, like really quietly, like how I might talk with someone sitting right next to me, then I kind of feel like a little nervous to do it because I don't know, like, what are you guys going to think about what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't feel really confident right now. But if you like speak a little bit louder, it lets you like fake confidence. So maybe try that. I don't know. What do you want to stream? You going to do Korean stuff? My name's Corey. So would you translate into Cory? Yes, I would. Kare. Do kare for curry. Kare. You have to be kare. Your nickname can be kare, like curry. Corey, you can do... you might be Cory. I actually don't know any Corys that have Korean names. Let me check. There's a really easy way to check. To check your name in Korean, go to naver.com, Naver.com. Naver's not special. It's literally just Google in Korea. Go to Naver. Type your name in English letters. Let's do Corey. Corey, I think of Corey Feldman, right? Look up the first Korean word you see that's written that has that name. Let's see. Corey. Oh wait, I don't want to write. It's too close to red. Even though it's like pink, I don't want to write names with this. Let's do it with blue. Corey. Now, before you say my name is Corey, before you do that, there's another check you have to do because you can end up with a name that has a bad connotation, or sometimes there are multiple versions of names. Like there will be a celebrity that has a name. This is common when your name exists in multiple languages. Like if your name is Michelle, right? You can be Michelle from US, or you can be Michel from France, right? Michel is not the same as Michelle, even though you might think it is. It's a slightly different name. So you would find the version that's the one that matches your name in your actual country. So if you're from the US, you probably want the one that sounds more like the English version. And the way you do that is you then take that name and put that into Naver as is. So let's do this with Corey. Click Corey and you can go to images and see what shows up. You are a character from a TV show from an animated show. What the heck is this? 마법사의 아들 코리? Is this a Korean show? What the heck is this? This is a Japanese character called Magician Son Cory or something. I don't know. If you're cool with that, yeah, go ahead. But you might want to put the name that you see when you search for Cory that you see completely, the person's name. So let's do, here it says there's someone named Cory Fogelmanis. I don't know who that is. Let's put this guy's name in here. And you see it's some actor who is from, doesn't say where he's from. I have no clue where this guy's from. But I see other names. If I scroll down, when I search Cory, you'll see there's like, oh, Cory Hart, Cory Paul, Cory Gaines, Cory Morris. There's all these like different Cory names, and they're all translated as Cory, just like this. So you can feel safe picking this as your name. But I would do that extra layer of checking before you just say yes, because you could end up with the wrong version, or you could end up with a name that has a weird connotation to it. Even if it's the right name, you might not want it. And then for one final check, go to Naver Dictionary. So that's really easy. Instead of naver.com, it's dic.naver.com, which is dictionary, and put your name in there and see if there's a different word that comes up with it. So in this case, Cory, I'm pretty sure there's no Cory word. So we're going to get the name Cory. That's it. Oh, and I guess there's a dialect version of Cory, which is like a ring or something. That's Cory. So you could get that as well. So yeah. And now you can say, my name is Cory, and you can feel safe and you can feel good about that name. Okay. Do you imagine we are all Muppets? Keith says, I'm much more comfortable talking to Muppets. No, I think what I do really is just that I talk more loud. I talk louder, which helps me to stay confident. And then I kind of get used to it. But I don't really feel like there's another trick. Like, I don't imagine that I'm talking with anyone specifically. I don't imagine everyone's Muppets or anything like that. If you were a Muppet, which Muppet would you be? Oh, that's tricky. Maybe Fozzie? Maybe Fozzie Bear? It's a really hard question because none of the Muppets are realistic or like sane. None of them are sane. They're all insane. So which insane character do I pick? I guess I'll pick Fozzie. Waka waka. Yeah, I probably would pick Fozzie, I guess, if I had to. Andrea says, Naver wants me to spell it as Andrea, but in English it's pronounced Andrea. So that's how I write it. If you want, however, they might have an association with the name Andrea already that they can remember more easily. But if you tell them it's Andrea, who cares? Like, they're going to say it as you say it. You can pick any spelling you want of your name. Too close to Kore for me. No, I think Cory is not Kore. They won't think of Kore when they hear Cory. They'll think Cory. Or they'll think Cory as like a ring, like the regular word Cory, if anything, which is also safe. Kylie is killing me for some reason. I think I'll stick with Kai. You can do Kai. There's a celebrity, Huning Kai from the group TXT. So yeah. Cory, you say you want to be Gonzo. Gonzo is at his core kind of a scumbag. He's not a very nice guy, but he's funny, but he's not the best role model, I think, as a real human being. So I didn't pick Gonzo for that. Maybe scumbag's not the right word. Weirdo. He's weird. Yeah, he's a little bit off the rails. A little bit too much. Yeah, Kai from EXO as well. Yeah, yeah. That's fair. I guess I like his style. Yeah, I mean, I like watching Gonzo, but you're talking about being Gonzo. I'm like, I don't think I could be, but I'd be Rizzo before I'm Gonzo, I guess. Don't blow my secret identity. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have told people that you're actually Huening Kai. Sorry about that. We'll keep that just between you and me. I won't tell a single other person. Jackson says, on the name thing, I also say you can change the spelling depending on how you like to have it pronounced. If the first set, yeah, you can change it. But if it's a name that's already very well known, like a really common name, then you have to be careful because people are going to constantly pronounce your name the way that they're used to. Let me try to think of an example. If your last name is Song, people are going to probably say it as song because it looks like song. Even if you tell them every single time it's Song with an O sound, people are going to still say it as song when they first read it. It's kind of the same way in Korean. They might have a way that they expect to pronounce that name, and they're familiar with that name already, like Maku for Mark. But what if you wanted to say, no, my name's not Maku, it's Mark. 저는 Mark예요, because that sounds more like Mark in English, Mark. They're going to still say it as Maku because that's the name that they're familiar with. And if you make them say Mark, they're going to feel uncomfortable. They're like your best friend will do it for you probably, but other strangers are going to be like, no, that's not how you spell it. Like, what's the name? Can you spell it for me? M-A-R-K. Yeah, that's Maku요. Why are you saying it like that? Mark 아니라. They're going to think your Korean's not correct. So you have to keep that in mind too. If it's a common name, you want to stick with the common name. The less common your name is, the more freedom you'll have with doing that sort of thing though, I think. JC, problem solved. There you go. Jesse. But they're still going to say it as she. But now you have a double shiot problem. So it's even stronger now because people don't say C, they say she. Like the alphabet letter A, B, she is how they say it. Keith says, I'm not partial to my name sounding like kiss. Kit. If you do kit, that wouldn't be the name though. That would sound like the word kit, not the name kit, which would be kit, I believe. But Kit Kat is Kit Kat, like that, or Kit Kat. So it depends how you want to spell it. It doesn't sound like kit though if you did that. Kishi. Yeah, you'd be Kishi. But I don't think they would think of your name Kishi as being kiss, because kiss is with a s, and Kishi is with she. I think you're safe. Kishi. Okay. I'm going to stop the live stream in just 2 minutes. So any last minute questions before we stop for today? I'm surprised there are still 74 people watching despite lots of people going to eat at that Super Bowl salad bar place that we were talking about. I can't remember. Something like that. A lot of people are going to there. I'm glad there are a lot of people hanging out here instead and doing Korean stuff. Mauor asks, I'm sorry I can't say your name. I don't know how to say it. I don't want to mess it up. When speaking Korean, what words do you normally use? Because this year I'm trying to reach 3,000 word average, but many worms? Why did I say that as worms? Overwhelm me. Any tips? Yes. Most of the words you're going to use are going to be the same 3,000, but I would not recommend doing a, what's it called? A frequency list. I would not recommend just finding a list of words on the internet for that. it's going to be around 3,000 words that you commonly hear people use. Those are going to be the common words. So if you really want to get to 3,000 words, try starting to write down every word that you hear someone use more than once. Any word that you've heard repeated more than once in a conversation, write it down and learn it. If you do that enough, you do that 3,000 times, you're going to have like 95% of every word that everyone uses is going to be within that same 3,000 words. And the other 5% are going to be the extra 10, 20,000 words that you'll have to learn eventually. But that 95% is going to be those same 3,000 words or less. Hey, Korean XM. Korean XM. I'm not sure how to say it, but Korean XM, who has the little like rabbit ears it looks like for your icon. Thank you. Wow, thank you. Do you have a message that I can read as well? Something I can read for your donation? Reiki says, imagine watching Super Bowl. I don't know why you'd watch a salad bowl when you could just eat it, but I mean, I don't know. You're much more entertaining than the supper bowl. Thanks. That's a nice compliment. Thanks. Can I have my dabs, please? Yes, you can, Kai. Kai gets her dabs because I have to get my exercise. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Thank you, Kai. And then we got a message as well from Korean XM. Of course, thank you. These videos have been such a lifesaver and have made learning Korean so much fun. Thank you. I'll never think the same about the Super Bowl ever again. Kai, you want Jeremy Dabs too? Jeremy Dabs. He can do it. He can dab pretty well. He does it like really quick too. He's good at dabbing. Okay. Personal stories definitely help with words like the goblin shares. Polite means my hands are empty. Guan Yu gives good advice. Sonia says, no more questions, but thanks for teaching me Korean over the years and answering the off-topic question. Yeah, sure. I have 2 Leon. I'm sure it'll be fine. Thanks for the lesson. Hey, Cosma. All right. That's enough for today. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and I will see you again next time. Oh, and remember, there is no live stream next Sunday, but there will be the next like 3 or 4 Sundays in a row after that. Let me check. Actually, I'll check right now. Yeah, I think after that, there will be 5 Sundays in a row where there will be a live stream. So no live stream on this Sunday, but then there's going to be like 5 in a row after that. So, 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Don't look at the hat. You can't see me.